I would like to invite Ed Giles. Yes, please come forward to share with us the report on the Commission on Child Advocacy. Thank you.
What an exciting time to be next. Thank you, Bishop, for the invitation to be here and to greet the annual conference. Again, it's good to see all of you almost, and to express my gratitude for your work on behalf of children and young people in Pennsylvania. The Commission on Child Advocacy is a small group of 14 of us who are active on behalf of the well-being of the kids and their families in Pennsylvania who have no voice, who do not elect anybody to office, and who are largely missed by the congregations, United Methodist and otherwise, all across the United States. For the last nearly 10 years, I've had an opportunity to chair the Commission on Child Advocacy, and I try to hide out and avoid anybody nominating me to move forward or resign. Child advocacy has become a part of my life and work since I was a child, actually, because I am the victim of psychological abuse. I lived through that because the church and many other people cared for me and enabled me to move effectively into and beyond my wildest dreams about my own future. So I take this position with a significant amount of humility on the one hand and a sense of urgency on the other. Our report is found on page 54 of the conference workbook. I'll not read it for you, and you should be thrilled about that. I do want to talk with you, however, about the condition of Pennsylvania kids based upon a number of research documents that are the primary work of the Commission. The Commission is not a program agency, and we provide no serious programmatic work except with one exception. The work of the Commission, first on my watch, has been and will continue to be to do research to inform the annual conference and its congregations and its leadership team, and to help the bishop and others determine what our role is in communicating the needs of young people who are not in our congregations, but who live on the margins of our culture. In the most recent report from Kids Count from the Annie Casey Foundation, I looked at the data in the categories that the Commission uses to measure whether or not children, youth, and their families are living on the margins of the Commonwealth. To my knowledge, the Susquehanna Conference contains 32 counties, or parts of 32 counties across the Commonwealth, which is a big geographic area to study. We have used 67 different windows of data to pursue what we share with the annual conference every year when there's opportunity. Pennsylvania's kids, by the hundreds of thousands, are in serious trouble. When the Commission ended its research project and presented our report to the annual conference, that report looks like this, and it's on our table for your use. It's available free. That report indicated then, and the numbers are not much better, that 673,000 children and youth in Pennsylvania are living on the margins of our culture, and they are near a congregation close to you. You need not look very far. Although my commitment with regard to the preceding reports involves my money, my heart, my prayers, and my love for the annual conference and all of its work, and for 50 years now, I am urgent about reporting to you that local congregations may well want to look outside their own doors to find the thousands of kids who are in trouble near you. These are people who are hard living, with thousands of kids in Pennsylvania who are drug addicted and families that are ineffective in caring for their nurture. The Kids Count report for 2016 is rewarding in terms of Pennsylvania's position in the United States with regard to some of these factors. overall rank about child well-being, economic well-being, educational rank in the United States, health rank, and family and community support. I'm happy to report to you that with the exception of one of these factors, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is now found not at the top, but we are no longer below the midpoint in the United States. Isn't that exciting to hear? For me, this is a 10-year journey of anticipation to indicate that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is making considerable strides. Minnesota, yet again, is first in the United States on caring for the well-being of its children and young people. First. That annual conference should get a gift from us to affirm their work. The poorest state in the reporting from 2016 is Mississippi, who continues to be struggling with the well-being of their children overall. Of the rankings I celebrate on our behalf for the well-being of children, where Pennsylvania is the weakest should move you to do something quickly. As it relates to child support across the state of Pennsylvania, which includes our 32 counties, we have dropped to 25th in the United States. That is where communities of congregations, agencies, governments, school systems, and otherwise, alongside families, we are not succeeding at a very high rate. Congregations have opportunities with the kids and their families on the margins to create support systems that work for the well-being of these young people. Over the course of the past 5 years, the Commission has undertaken research and has implemented training events, the next one at Bethlehem Church in Dallastown on May the 20th. I am happy to report to you on behalf of our Commission and on behalf of the annual conference that the Commission on Child Advocacy has now put ourselves and the work of the Commission in front of more than 300 people in this annual conference. That, for a small group of people, is remarkable and good research. Inasmuch as we are not a programmatic agency, we have to raise the question of the authenticity and the integrity of our missional enterprises. While again, my own money and heart travels around the world, and that's true, the neighborhoods where we live are the ones that may be suffering the most and within easy reach of our congregations. Our goal has been threefold, not the least of which is to invite those interested and committed to become trained child advocates, and for each of the 7 districts to have child advocacy teams that act on behalf in cooperative ventures in order to address the issues of hunger, poverty, undereducation, violence and abuse, and all those matters of assault and exploitation of our children. I came to understand the joy of all of this work when I ran across a number of congregations in the annual conference who have far exceeded any expectations I personally might have had. Bishop, you already said it, and I thank you. Congregation after congregation that we have visited or worked with, or their leadership teams, pastors, or people, are committed to the well-being of children. And I am delighted to tell you, if we are winning with regard to one missional enterprise, we give evidence of this annual conference standing firm against the violence and abuse of our children. You have accomplished so much through the week that it's remarkable to celebrate. It is not as if we have won the battle, but what is emerging is a consciousness and a culture of deployment. There are 4 cultures the British Methodists have taught me that impact the life of a local church: the culture of invitation and hospitality, the culture of assimilation, the culture of educating us to understand the gospel of Christ, and the culture of deployment. The role of our local congregations reaching kids who have special needs, like my child, now 42, to invite into their life for good and holy purposes ways to inform, educate, lift up, and encourage those families, to create patterns of intervention, counseling, and referral services, to feed the hungry, to adopt families is truly remarkable. I thank you for that good work, and I encourage all of you. I know my time is up, and I know I promised to be brief. But the most important thing I can say in conclusion is the well-being of children is the responsibility of the people called Christians. There will be no birthing our succeeding generations. You know what I mean? We are not going to birth our succeeding generations in the church. We are going to have to find them. And they, as it was the case in Great Britain all those years ago, those people who are to succeed us are living on the margins, and we're going to have to figure out sooner than you think how to reach them, to love them, to heal their wounds, and invite them into the fullness of God's amazing grace. May the Lord bless, keep, and affirm the work we do on behalf of children and on behalf of the one who invited the children to his lap and asked us to bless them and make them whole. I love doing this. Please don't vote me out of office for 2 more years. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Let the church say amen.